So we come back to pick up this. So we just click and drop on our backpack on the back there like that, see? And can we put one in there as well? Yeah, but we're not going to set anything. Actually, we might be able to. We're not going to use it, but it might be a cheeky way of having one extra slot. There we go. So we've gamed the system now, and we've got one extra slot in our backpack, and we can charge back to the base with plenty of resin. And you also got emotes on this, see? When you're not sure what to do, big hello or little hello, and then the big hello. And that's like, yeehaw, well done. And there's the big hello. So, those are the emotes that we get for the moment in the game. Obviously, plenty more to come, no doubt. Let's make our way back. Unfortunately, you can't get lights, because lights would be a nice touch, I think. Let's get back in here, because we've done a lot. Let's save the game. Right, so, over here, what we're going to do is we're going to put down 2 of these resin and make it into something. But the question is, what do we make it into? So it can be a printer, fuel condenser, research smelter, or vehicle bay. It's got to be the printer, I think. But then that means that we are going to need some copper. And if we're going to get that, we're going to have to go underground again. So, and then we'll have to use the smelter to smelter it. So let's go and have a look in the Dick Cave. Find out what's going on. And put our other resources in there as well. There we go. So, we shall place in there the resin and the resin. And over here, we shall place the compound. Now, one thing I have seen sometimes that does occur on this game is sometimes the resources will drop through the floor and appear to disappear, if that makes any sense. But that can happen sometimes. But, you know, alpha is alpha and all that. So, which cave should we go to, I wonder? Well, if I'm right in thinking, I don't think we've built tethers out to this cave yet. Or have we even built tethers out to this cave? Yeah, we've built tethers out to this one. So that's not too bad. That's our original cave that we've built to. Let's build some tethers out this way. To the other cave. Come on. Here we go. Now, if we put do that on the side there like that, then we can put another one on the side there. Like that. Glorious. Oh, spooky cave. Look at that, we've got underground compounds. How lovely. Just love the way it lights it up as it goes. Such a nice touch. Aha! Space bollock. Literally, that's all that's in this cave, really. Is a space bollock. Okay. Well, we're not going to argue. Any resource is good resource in my book. I'm also hearing a storm up there. It's a bit of a worry. Now, which direction do we go? Back through there. Now, what we could do is, just to make our life just a bit easier, is build like a little smoothie entrance. Like that. So at least it's easier to get in and out of the cave and get in the general direction of our base. So let's go and look for the tethers so we can walk along them and keep our oxygen levels high. Here we go. Good, 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 good. Righty dokie. So we're back to doing research. Research. Come on. Here we go. Give me some copper. No, but it's giving me some equipment, which is good. What's it going to give me? Oh, habitat, which is another one of these things. So could conceivably, if we find a nice area underground, we could build an underground base as well, like Flying Ross has done. You should check out his channel as well if you haven't seen that before. He's got a series on Astroneer, which is very good. As he pauses to cough, sorry everyone. Now, let's see. Tethers and stuffs. Let's see. Let's go spelunking, I think. Into our original cave. Just want to smooth that off just a tad. There we go. Whoops. And then sort of add to it there a little bit and then smooth it down a bit. There we go, that's a bit better. Okay. So this is an area which we haven't really... Oh, aluminium. That's nice. And a cave within a cave. Oh my god, caveception. Look at this. Oh. Fantastic caviness. Caveception, how we enjoy it. So, what I think we'll do is we'll put another one up here, up the top, like this. No, it's going to be too far away, isn't it? I don't know, might just, there we go, just made it. And then we'll flatten the sodding Nora out of this lot. And we'll then run out of power. Hurrah. But we have power available to steal. See? Bit cheeky of us, but you know, we're busy explorers, you know, we can't wait around for people to provide us with the power that we need to do our important exploratory things, which I suppose there's a technical term for what we're doing. I don't think exploratory things are really the term that most people would use. Oh god. Let's see, put one there. Because we want to be able to go along here. So let's fill all this in. There we go. So here is the laterite, and you can see there aluminium ore. So let's collect some laterite, and then we'll be able to smelt the bejesus out of it. There we go. You see, there's still more underground. We've got 2 more slots available for this stuff. Can we get one more maybe? Oh. There we go. Let's make our way back. And let's check for our tethers, because what we will do is we'll run some tethers down here. And then we'll build a ramp. Oh, careful. Oh, this is going to be tricky. Can I build a ramp anywhere? Let's check if I cut a hole here. Because this sometimes works. Thank you. No, no. Oh, for God's sake. Now, I could die if I fall down there. But what I'm after is that. There we go. Get close enough to the ground. Because it does have a limited range. So that I can build up. So, let's see. Now that we've done that, let's just create a step system. And these things have little spikes that come out of them, and they're horrible. So if we undermine their doodah, we've got to watch for him. Then what we'll do is we'll smooth all this out here. Actually, we'll do it that way. Because that's too sharp an angle. So, and also, I want that sort of a little bit back there. Because we want to be able to get down here without any problems. And that's why we're flattening all this out like this. Not like that, but more sort of like that. You see? As you can see, slightly too much of an angle. So we'll just have to bring it back a bit. Like so. You can jump up there as well if you want. So, oh. So we'll just fill in a little bit here. And fill in a little bit here. And there we go. Take a little bit out there. There we go. We have a ramp down into the unknown. How exciting. Just take the edge off it there. There we go. Right, so. A tether there. And then we are going to want to put a tether on the side. And then one down the bottom. There we go. So, first things first. Let's get a space bollock from here. There we go. One space bollock. Oh, another of those slightly square space bollocks. That's good. Oh, crap. See, what did I tell you? Instant death. Curses. Oh, we're going to have to go and get our body and all our equipment now. So. Off we go. I think I'm going the right way. Oh, look at that planet rising in the background. Isn't that lovely? Okay. Now, it's not that one because we haven't set up all the right tethers. So I'm guessing it's that one over there. So we'll stay close to the tethers, past the Dick Cave. And make our way over to here. Okay. Aha. This could be the quarry that we're after. This looks more like it. Bit of surfing downstairs. There we go. We got to the first ramp, which is still a little bit shocking, I have to say. There you go. That's better. And we've still got to explore that way as well. But let's have a look down here. There's our body. There's our bod. Make our way down here. Next to the space. The square space thingy. So, this is where we have to transfer our inventory. To be honest, that reminds me of the old days of EverQuest. Basically doing a corpse run. Now, what used to happen in the older days of EverQuest... Yeah, so stop that, go away. I don't want to see that anymore. There we go. In the old days of EverQuest, what would happen is that you couldn't get up the ramp. For God's sake. Oh, look at that. That's copper. We want copper. We want the copper. But we'll come back to that because we've now explored, or exploring this area. So what would happen is essentially you would die. And when you died, all your equipment was left with your body, understandably so. So what would happen is you had a certain amount of time in which to go and get your body and then get all your equipment off it. Now, this is obviously a lot of stuff on your body. This is stuff that you've got over the course of probably a year or two, or you've made it, or you've bought it, and it's quite an investment. So you don't really want to lose any of that stuff, and it won't expire for about 7 days, I think was the norm. So you have plenty of time, and what would happen is that there was this mechanic on EverQuest where a monk could do a thing called a feigned death. Now, what that would involve was basically he'd run up, he'd hit a monster, a mob, as they were known as, and essentially that would aggro him, and it would probably aggro some of his friends as well. And what he would then do is he would feign death. And the monsters would then lose interest in him and walk away. But they would never all walk away together. They would kind of walk away in parts and all the rest of it. Now, let's find out what this is. Trade platform, very helpful. So they would walk away in parts. And then what you could do is you could feign death and then go and hit another one as they're broken up a little bit. And it was a way of separating out all the mobs. So that you could then pull just the one monster, and then you can deal with one monster at a time. As soon as you started dealing with multiple monsters, that's where you started to have loads of problems. That's when you needed a thing called an enchanter. But to be honest, a good group, you never really needed the enchanter to crowd control, so to speak. It was an emergency that you hoped would not occur. So what would happen is that you had this option in the game where you could drag a corpse, and you'd have to give permission to somebody to drag your corpse. And what would happen is that that person, actually we're going to make this ramp a lot less steep, I think. So you give them permission to drag your corpse, and then invariably what it would be is it would be a relatively high level monk. And this monk would then go in, you're paying money, and he would go in and he would drag your corpse out to where you were. Because if you went in there, then all the monsters that killed you the first time around would probably kill you the second time around as well. So monks had this established economy of corpse dragging. Now, it sounds a bit grim, I'm sure, but what would happen is that, you know, that would be very helpful, because if for whatever reason you're in a raid and you wiped, so basically everybody in the raid died, you would have, what essentially would happen is that the person running the raid would say, clerics, camp out. And what that would mean is that the people who were the clerics, playing clerics, which were the healers in the game, they would be basically, they would log out of the game. Okay, now bear in mind, this is in the days, or the very, very early days of voice comms. So there wasn't really any voice comms. It was all done with text chat. So what would happen is that the clip... What was that? Was that you did? The text chat, they would say, clerics camp out, and all the clerics would then log off the server and wait for, in a chat program elsewhere, they had this thing called EQ chat, for you to say, okay, you can log in. Now, what would happen is that if for whatever reason the raid wiped, one of the monks would feign death, and he would wait for all the mobs to clear, and it would get to a situation where once they were all clear, he could then say, okay, we're good to go, and he would then tell the raid leader, and the raid leader would say, okay, clerics or cleric, you can log in. Now, what would happen is the cleric's job was then to revive everybody who had died on the raid and essentially get everybody back up so they could start doing the raid again. So it was... This corpse running was a regular feature of raids, and I've not been a fan of MMOs that don't really have that mechanic, to be honest, because it gets to the point where there's no risk. You know, if you survive with all your stuff, where's the risk? Oh, copper. How handy was that? You know, and this is the thing. It's like they're taking the risk out of everything. And it becomes annoying as hell, as far as I'm concerned, because it's like, well, if there's no risk, where's the reward? You know, is it really a reward if you're not risking your equipment and all the rest of it? I mean, you know, I remember being the only cleric on an entire raid on one occasion, and that was heart-stoppingly fun, I have to say. But, you know, this is one thing that a lot of people who don't play games don't understand, is the fact that, you know, the people that I played EverQuest with, that I was in a guild with, I'm still friends with, and I speak to them relatively often. I ended up playing EverQuest with an entire family that used to play together as a family, which I thought was just fantastic, because it's like, you know, none of this sort of, you know, the kids are on the computer and everything. They played as an entire family, and, you know, I got to know them as a result of that, and those parents have gone on to become grandparents, and, you know, that sort of whole gaming thing has become a part of their family. It's you know, part of who they are as a family, and it's fantastic. And, you know, one thing, oh God, I do remember one thing that was really good. What would happen is once you get to a certain level, you could do random acts of kindness. Now, sometimes that would be for like a level 1 or a level 2 noob. So they've never played the game. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what buttons to have, all that kind of stuff. They just don't know what's going on. And so, you know, you would go along, and if you were feeling in a particularly good mood, or you had just upgraded all your equipment to the latest one, and none of your other friends wanted it because it'd be a downgrade for them and all the rest of it, you would go to a noob area, and you'd find a noob who was maybe struggling, and you'd say, here, have some of this. And then you'd give him all this massively overpowered gear, and he'd be like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then you'd give him a buff, which means that, I mean, I did a test on one occasion where I buffed a level 1 wizard, and he went from level 1 to level 2 in a minute and a half, because he also had this shield on him that anytime any of the monsters attacked him, it gave the monster damage, so they could just beat themselves to death on this shield, and he would take no damage, and he would get experience for it. And so what would happen is you'd have multiple people who would play multiple characters, like I did. I mean, when I left EverQuest, I had, I would say, about 2 accounts and 16 characters in total. And I just got bored playing one character all the time. I like the variety. I like the fun. And, you know, and also I tended to find that you play a character or you play a class that you see, oh God, that must be really easy. It's really not. It's really, really not. But you can only, as the saying goes, you know, you want to find out what it's like to live their life, walk a mile in their shoes, sort of thing, you know? Because then you understand these things. And also it means that when you play your main character, you are more understanding of what the other player is having to go through. And I mean, I've got I still think in this particular game there was this thing called an enchanter. Now, the job of the enchanter was what's known as crowd control. So they had a mesmerization skill and a spell that could basically stun a enemy for a set period of time, and they would do nothing. Now, the only thing that would be a drawback is if anybody hit that monster while it was mezzed, it would break the mesmerization. Now, also, the other problem was, well, there were two other problems, is that when the mesmerization skill was broken, or the mesmerization was broken by whoever, what that would make is that it would make her for a very, very angry monster. And as a result of that, he would go straight for the person who mesmerized him, which would normally be the enchanter. Now, the problem with that is the fact that enchanters used to be very, very low on hit points. The lowest hit points in the game, I think. And the highest aggro creating spells in the game. So you can see how this made for an entertaining combination. And usually, if the enchanter dies, the whole team dies. So the whole group dies completely. Because there's nobody there to crowd control. There's nobody there to deal with the additional monsters that end up appearing. You know? And it's just... And I've just... Oh, God. I mean, on one occasion, I died 8 times in one group. It was just... We just got overwhelmed. And, you know... You just can't manage everything. It gets to a point of no return. And it all goes to shit. And you think, okay, right, let's bail on this one. And, yeah. So, you know, it all goes horribly wrong. So, you know, I mean, I played as an enchanter. I mean, my enchanter made it up to, like, max level and stuff like that. And it's probably the most challenging game aspect I played as a class. Because of that whole aggro aspect of it. And the fact that you could die so goddamn quick. Oh, no power. Oh, dear. And it was because of that risk that it made playing that class so much fun. And not only that, but I also had a reputation for choosing silly names. So that's the reason why I had a gnome enchanter called Shortass. I had a cleric. She was a high elf cleric. She was fantastic. She's a gorgeous lady. And she was called Oibint. And I had a monk who was a lizard, basically. And he was called Twatum Senseless. I mean, yeah, what can you say, really? Just me all over. And I think I've still got EverQuest installed somewhere and access to that account, I think. So, you know, it's something I could show people if they were interested. But it's an old game. I mean, you know, I spent 3 years subscribed, like £10 a month, to that game. Oh, yes, look, more resource over there, thank you. And I met so many friends as a result of that game. Had so much fun. And, you know, it's a positive influence on my life as far as the game is concerned. Probably one of the most positive influences. You know, there are those people who are saying, oh, you're just playing games, you're wasting your life, which is something parents would usually say to you. But then parents were of a different generation and they didn't really understand the impact that games have on people. I mean, you know, you talk to somebody and just say, oh, what was your game when you were a kid? And they'll go all misty-eyed and all the rest of it, and they'll just say, yeah, it was this or it was that, and stuff like that. And then they'll go back and they'll still play it even now because of that connection to the nostalgia that when you played it as a kid, you remember sitting there, parents had gone to bed, you're up late, you weren't supposed to be up, but you were sitting in front of one of those old tube televisions, literally getting a suntan from being irradiated, and you were playing, you know, Mario or something like that. But yeah, it's just that impact that games has on people. It's mad, really, when you think about it, but it's fantastic in another way. And so, you know, it's the same with YouTube as well, because if you look at YouTube, the way I see it, YouTube is kind of a way of connecting with people. So you find people of a similar interest, and you connect with them and become part of that community, usually surrounded by the channel that you are subscribed to. And so you become a member of that community, and you experience the highs and lows of that community as well. And so it's people who are saying, oh yeah, people who spend all the time on the internet unsociable, which is not true. Because you have people spending time in comms, in chat, and all the rest of it, and they are very sociable people. That's probably why LANs have become so popular as well, is because people, you know, want to spend time with other people that they play games with. And there is our 3D printer. Isn't she glorious? And look at the power coming in, so we can create storage, which means we can put things onto that, which is great. A wind turbine, which is fantastic. And a battery, which will help us keep power levels good at the base. A generator, which will be helpful, because I think we use coal for that. And a habitat. And then a seat. So, what we're going to then do is probably build out over here somewhere a vehicle pad. Now, let's have a look. What I think we need to go is go to the Dick Cave and put the resources in there for the copper and figure out what we need to do next. So look at that. We've got a dearth of copper and aluminium. So I think what we'll do is if we put the copper in there as well, and we'll take 2 of the aluminium out. Like so. There we go. Because didn't I see something needed aluminium when I was looking at this? So that's compound for the solar panel, which will build. Storage, wind turbine, there we go. The wind turbine. And then one over here. And then we build the wind turbine on the lovely 3D printer. Look at that. And then that will help bolster our power. We slot it right in there. How cool is that? You can see there the power pulsing away. Wind turbine. So, next on the plan, I think, should be the solar panel. So we are going to have to go hunting for compound. So let's just go compound hunting, shall we?